Month 2 of the Adventures with Con Sabbatical, Lucy and I arrive in Sri Lanka, tired and weary from a month of Indian travel. As enjoyable as India was, we were on a mission to relax and recuperate a little bit, but we're really excited to see what Sri Lanka had to offer. We landed in Colombo, and one of our first realizations was how much better the drivers of Sri Lanka were compared to India. People actually adhered to the rules. After a night seeing the sights of Colombo and recovering from our travels, we decided to hop on the train and take the scenic route up to Kandy.
So we are now on a Sri Lankan train, and it's pretty plush, as you can see. However, they just have some serious cyclic top issues, so you get shuggled this a lot. So it's like constant shuggles. Train is just continually vibrating. It's not as bad as smelly as an Indian one, but it's very distracting. How smooth the train is. Good old hand balancing.
Thoroughly shaken, we arrived in Kandy, which had some spectacular views. It was at the foothills of the highlands and was also the beginning of the tea plantation area of Sri Lanka. With tea being Sri Lanka's largest export, it's very difficult to ignore the vast quantities of tea being grown in the highlands. However, it was actually spectacular when you're driving through the different scenery and actually seeing the different areas in which tea had been planted. Of course, steeped in colonialism, Sri Lanka, formerly Ceylon, also had some of our British roots tied into it. Some of the tea factories originated from colonial eras, as well as modern day owners. Actually, some are still British. We went on several tea museum tours and tea factory tours, starting off with Ceylon Tea Museum. From there, we ventured up even higher into the hills of Sri Lanka, whereby we went to the Damro Tea Factory, which was a modern factory and actually still had a balance of old styles of tea making and collecting the tea by hand, mixed with the new factory methods. Teed out, and with our driver Asanka fully fed up of stopping at each of the different tea plantations, we made our way to Ella. Ella is famous for this 9-arch bridge where some random YouTuber jumped in front of the train in the last second and started singing to the bunch of people in front of him. We also then had people hanging out of the train to grab a Instagram selfie, which was pretty mad. So, having previously worked for Network Rail and seeing everyone cross the track willy-nilly, absolutely horrifying. Network Rail would be absolutely disgusted by this behaviour. Not that we're in anywhere that actually adheres to any regulations or safety or anything like that. But, I mean, when in Rome, do as the Sri Lankans did. Pretty spectacular views in the highlands, followed by a quick stop at Little Adams Peak for the famous Instagram shot, which Lucy insisted I get on top of this rock and pretend that I was an Instagrammer. We then decided to begin our surfing sabbatical and started off our journey in Aragon Bay.
Not a bad day in Aragon Bay. Super pleased that there's actually lifeguards on these surf beaches. A lagoon where there's a crocodile in there. This was all one
After arriving in Aragon Bay, it turned out it wasn't actually surf season on the east coast, and it was literally like a ghost town. However, we got recommended to attend a place called Peanut Farm, which you can see here with pretty incredible views and the waves all to ourselves, and I could legit call myself a surfer because I actually just caught that wave. On the way home, our tuk-tuk driver insisted that we come and meet his family, where we sat in the garden of his house and drank coconuts from the tree in his back garden, which was pretty damn cool. From there, we then ventured to Yala National Park in the hope of seeing some elephants. We've just seen an elephant, and right now we're queuing for a leopard. So, 30 minutes to see a leopard apparently. There's a queue for the leopard. Hope he's charging a $5 a go, because the queues get bigger. Well, we thought we'd been mugged off with the leopards because we hadn't seen any leopards, and we were told we would have. But actually, we've been rewarded on the way out with some nice elephants. Anyway, with Lucy happy that we'd saw some elephants, back to surf life. Here we are in Ocean Tribe Surf Camp in Welagama, Sri Lanka. And so far, we've been doing loads of lessons, 6 AM starts, which have been absolutely brutal.
You spend the rest of the time eating and sunbathing.
Lounge life. Coffees throughout the day, waiting for yoga. Followed by early night in the bed, and up again at 6 for more surf. A very useful thing about the surf camp was it actually taught us some of the key basics that we've been missing for both Lucy and I. We had the swimming pool here where we could potentially actually practice some of the basics like turning a surfboard, turtle rolls, as well as paddling in the pool. And actually it was a really nice, just chilled environment where you could actually be confident that you could build the skill. And Lucy could practice her turtle rolls as opposed to getting bashed by waves on waves. Here you can see Lucy with the instructor actually starting to practice some of the basics like popping up and actually surfing some of the small waves. She refused to comment on her own progress for this video, so you can see here this is her paddling where she's just basically touching the water with each hand as opposed to propelling herself forward. And well, yeah, this is her own fault for not commentating on her progress. But to be fair, she caught a wave by the end of the week and actually started smashing some of the bigger waves at the bigger spots. Primed with the basics, she moved on to this spot called Marshmallow, which you can see is noticeably bigger. And actually with the confidence on a hardboard, actually managed to start surfing some pretty cool green waves. With my own surfing abilities under scrutiny now, it was really nice to have some proper surf guiding where you could actually get introduced to some new spots. And actually I started to refine my pop-up technique as well as start surfing some smaller boards. So having moved from 9 foot all the way down to 8 foot and actually started to surf some proper green waves and build the confidence to actually start building that bottom turn in to move to the next level of intermediate surfing. With the final few weeks left, we decided to hit the south coast of Sri Lanka and actually start exploring some of the other wildlife aspects. Here you can see some awesome turtles that were like trapped in this like little lagoon where, okay, they were getting fed, so actually they probably weren't trapped and then decided to stay. But it was really nice to see some wild turtles in the wild, not in a zoo. Actually, we managed to see even more turtles when we were surfing. So there would just be turtles popping up their heads next to you when you were catching the waves and actually just kind of seeing what was going on. Bumbling along the south coast, we met up with friends, Tommy and Katara, who we'd met previously in Ella, as well as explored the Gaul Fort, which was another stark reminder of Sri Lanka's colonial era. Having initially been a Portuguese fort, followed then by a Dutch fort in the 1600s, followed again then by a British settlement in the 1800s. In Sri Lanka, obviously the most important thing is how good looking your tuk-tuk is. So this is a very nice tuk-tuk. Look at this bad boy. Lucy's getting in. Can you give me a tour of the tuk-tuk?
This is my tuk-tuk.
It's your tuk-tuk.
White seat.
So polished that, very nice, very nice. And then minimalistic leather, very nice, smooth, clean, well looked after. On the other hand, we have a Rasta tuk-tuk. So here we are, Rasta man. And there's all the different vibes, very nice. And look at those speakers. Whoa, nice. Very nice. And of course, there is a baker Tuk Tuk. And sometimes even taxi tuk-tuks. And by far my favorite, some tuk-tuks are surfboard carriers. Sometimes even ice cream tuk-tuks. Nice! Cool! So thoroughly rested after our crazy month in India, the question was, did we enjoy month 2 of Sabbatical? And the answer was a resounding yes. Sri Lanka really had incredible people, incredible views, and enabled us to actually just chill out on the beach and begin our surfing journey on Sabbatical. Next up, we're off to Thailand for another month, and of course this covers the Christmas and New Year period, so make sure you like and subscribe to see what happens in month 3 of the Adventures with Con Sabbatical.